Hello my fellow cigar smokers and welcome to Smoker Spot and the Normandy Edition, because I'm still in France, still in vacation and trying to enjoy some quality time. Guys, after we were talking about the Welsh and we were talking about the house where we are staying here, I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite sites where I wanted to go, where I intended to go after we first laid the plan out that we want to go to the Normandy, or in general northern France, and that is Dunkirk. Dunkirk, very important place, a very important role in the Second World War, and I'm not saying that only because I watched like the Dunkirk movie that aired like 3 or 4 years ago. It was very popular. I'm like a hobby historian, and one of the aspects I'm always researching is Second World War, First World War, and the history of the Germans, like back in the days, what tribes were in Germany, the fight against the Romans, and so on. So Dunkirk was like a wow, I want to go there and I want to take a look. And we've been there. By the way, guys, today we are smoking a Camacho Criollo Robusto out of the tubo. Brought this with me from Germany. Very classical Robusto, 50 ring gauge, 5 inches long. Got the name from the tobacco that's coming from Honduras that is used as a wrapper, and it's Criollo tobacco. Binder is also from Honduras. Filler is from Honduras and the Dominican Republic. Not one of my favorite Camachos. I'm more into the stronger ones, like for example the Camacho Nicaragua. Enough about cigars. Dunkirk. The important role of Dunkirk in the Second World War is, interestingly, a loss of the Allies and a victory of the Germans, but it kind of turned around. Why? In 1940, like the Germans were really strong back then. They occupied Poland. They already sacked then the Netherlands, Belgium, like the Nordics, and they on their way to occupy France too. And like the last line of defense was the British expedition force, and like the remains of the French army, and there were in total like 340,000 people, and round about I think 100,000 guys from the French army and the rest from the British expedition force. And man, they were losing big time, and so the Germans were driving them towards west, and like they were coming from west and they coming from the south, and like the last place they were able to go was Dunkirk. So, and you have to imagine like they were fleeing towards Dunkirk, and like really their last point is like the beach, right? The beach and the district that is around the beach, and the French and the British, they were like concentrated over there and don't know what to do. And the Germans were coming, right? And it was like crystal clear that they will wipe out everybody over there. it didn't happen. It didn't happen because for whatever reason, it's still not 100% clear. Like Adolf Hitler itself gave a command that the German tank troops should stop. We assume, or historians assume, that he was suspicious that this is kind of a trap, right? Because it seemed to be too easy. Wipe out like the last British forces, the last French forces. So he stopped and gave like the Allies 1 or 2 days more to do something, right? And then Operation Dynamo was initiated. And that means that the British Navy was coming over to Dunkirk and collecting their troops. But in that process, it became clear that they don't have enough ships to get everybody in there and rescue them. So what happened is that everybody, and I mean everybody who owned a ship back then, like the fishermen, like merchants, everybody, right, was sailing from Britain, from England to Dunkirk to collect the troops. And the first plan was just collecting the British troops, right, and leaving the French back. But then they realized, okay, that's like a death sentence. So they extended Operation Dynamo and also rescued the French. And everybody, like all the soldiers, thought, oh man, when we're coming home, when we're coming back to England, they will spit at us, they will blame us for not being good enough to defend Europe. But then it all of a sudden, like it became like a victory, right? They celebrated everybody who was coming home, and like they not saved everybody, of course, they not rescued everybody, but these over 300,000 soldiers were like the foundation for everything that was about to come. So me personally think that Dunkirk was one of the most important battles, events in the Second World War. Because if all that did not happen, World War II could have probably ended differently. So that's like a little bit of a background. But I mean, guys, really, like I said, it's just a hobby, right? I'm not the expert. Though if you're really into that, just like Google Dunkirk, Google Operation Dynamo, and go and check it out yourself. Watch documentations, watch the movie. There are 2 movies. An older one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and a newer one that came out a couple of years ago. Both worth watching, but don't forget it's a movie, right? So they're getting some facts straight, but other are just like drama. So got all my family in the car and driving to Dunkirk, right in the very north of France. And I was so eager to see, like, especially the beach, right? The beach, and I knew there was like a Dunkirk Museum. So that was cool. Along the beach, there are a couple of like mini monuments telling different stories. But the beach itself was, I don't want to say disappointing, because at least for me, it's when I'm visiting one of these sites, there's a feeling there are emotions associated to it, right? Attached to that place. And maybe that's just an illusion, but always when I'm within these sites, I'm getting, I'm feeling like respect and some sort of sadness and a couple of things combined. It was the same thing when I was at the beach, when I was at Dunkirk beach. The problem is that when you're standing in front of the beach, like you have the ocean in front of you, the whole right side is full of tourism, right? They're like, even now in Corona times, there were like thousands of tourists on the beach, right? Laying around there, having fun in the water. I mean, that's okay. That's what a beach is for, right? But on the other hand, I thought, oh man, that's such an historical site. It's just like kind of disrespectful, you know? But that's just me. And on the left side, it's getting less and less people. So when you like on the left side of the beach, you are like have a feeling what it looked like back then in 1940. So we were at the beach, just looking around, you know, and there's like a big monument that we like just was standing there for a while and watched it and like getting a feeling for that place, right? My dog's seeing something, I don't know. My dogs think they are watchdogs. They are not, but they're always guarding the door. And that are the dogs of my neighbor. We have like one house, like the neighbor over here, and they have like crazy dogs. They're barking all the time. And the owner is coming home. Anyhow, guys, so we were standing at that monument, like right, absorbing the emotions and getting a feeling for that place. And then we were going to the Dunkirk Museum. And the cool thing about the Dunkirk Museum is that they have like literally thousands of original things from back then, all different kind of stuff, you know, from cars to weapons to like the uniforms to like really small pieces, diaries, whatever, you know, and it's just great. And you have a roundabout, so you're walking one course and you're seeing like different things from all different perspectives. A very cool place. So if you ever get a chance going to Dunkirk, visiting Dunkirk, go to the beach, go to the monument, visit the museum. It's especially if you into history, especially World War II. Check it out. Like it's a very historic, important place that it's worth to checking out. Was talking so much, my Camacho almost went out. Well, still good. And you know, one funny thing, or one thing that was a little bit surprising was, it's my first time in northern France, my first time in the Normandy, and I always, and it was just a feeling, you know, it's not like a fact. It was just like I thought that Germans are not very like welcome here, for obvious reasons. Especially here. But no one cares. Really, no one cares. Put aside the language barriers we have here, and we're making a whole episode about that. It's like really like most of the people are really friendly, and they give you a feeling that you are welcome here, and that's a cool thing, you know. And not taking that for granted. So that was like a really cool experience, and I enjoyed that a lot. Guys, that's it. Still trying here to enjoy my Camacho Criollo. And the weather sucks today, so we'll see what we are going to do. Probably visiting another museum and see what's going on. Until then, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that Normandy edition about Dunkirk. Smoke a good cigar, enjoy life, most importantly, stay safe and stay healthy. And I see you around at Smoker's Spot. Cheers.